Glycine is a brand that I've really come to appreciate since I got into watches. They've got a fairly rich history of doing a bunch of watches worn by US servicemen and doing some fairly innovative things such as creating the first GMT watch with the Airman back in the 1950s. So I have this Glycine Combat sub I've been wearing for a long time. I've had it for probably about the better part of the last 5 or 6 months now. Really enjoy it. So with my interest in Glycine, I did some digging and wanted to kind of pick up one of the more vintage models of Glycine. And I wanted to get something that a lot of people probably wouldn't have had much experience with. So through my eBay travels and kind of stalking and looking around, that led me to this watch here. This is a Glycine Vacuum. This specific one comes from the early 1960s. We can see it's running here and is keeping accurate time. We're going to do a goofy thing here. I can flip it inside out here. We have it on an old school stretchy metal bracelet. 18 millimeter lug length here from side to side for bracelets and straps. And then I'd say the case diameter is probably about 36 or 37 millimeters. I have an Omega Seamaster quartz dress watch here that's a little bit smaller, of course, a lot thinner because quartz, but this predates quartz watches existing. So I really wanted to pick up a neat old Glycine. I'm not scared off by vintage watches. I know what the work that goes into them. But the vacuum here is very interesting to me. So, of course, looking at our dial here, wonderful gold sunburst, gold case. And we have raised indices. Of course, no date, just the time, which is great for setting it because you don't have to worry about rolling over the date. And then I found out why they called it the vacuum. Admittedly, there's not a lot of information out there on these watches. When we pull our crown out, it actually pulls out fairly far. When we push it back in, it helps to purge a lot of the air out of the watch movement to help make this a little bit more watertight and have a better seal there. We don't have a screw down crown. However, it does kind of help to force that air out. Now, obviously, this watch is 60 years old by now, so I'm not going to trust the water resistance of 50 or 100 meters that it had in 1963. But I think it's really, really cool that I managed to scoop one of these up for a really reasonable price. So, will it remain on this jingly-jangly, old-school metal bracelet? Probably not. It'll probably get leather or something a little bit more comfy in the future. But this has been my go-to watch for a lot of dressy occasions. Another nifty thing that's kind of a downside for me as the end user is that the vacuum here was one of the first Swiss watches to actually use mineral crystal to cover the dial. Now, that's nice because it's more durable than acrylic. However, that means I can't buff out any sort of imperfections. They're not going to show up the best here on camera, on the video camera in particular, but I do have some scuffs on here that were caused by 60 years of wear and a couple of scratches here in the glass. That being said, I did polywatch it, which I know won't remove any of those, but it does help to buff in so it kind of hides it better, kind of like the old toothpaste on your headlights trick. But this is a watch that I thought was really neat, and I want to do a video on it because, truth be told, there's not a whole lot of information out there on these bad boys, especially here on YouTube. So, I really dig this classic Glycine. I like that I can flip it around like this. And, yeah, for the $190 I paid for this 60-year-old watch that came with its original box and receipt, which, truth be told, I don't put much stock in those because they've been sitting in my closet since I got the watch. I've been very pleased with this. So, it's joining my Glycine Combat sub as part of my 2 Glycine collection. And who knows, maybe an Airman will be my first GMT to join that too. Thanks for watching and look out for more content down below.